So are you ready to PR yourself? We'll remove the mystery from all things PR and we'll discuss everything from our top strategies to tips and tricks and everything that you can utilize to further enhance your brand or your message. I've been in media, I'm a journalist, and I'm also a publicist. I am Leah Frazier, CEO of Think3 Media and your host for PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. Let's go. And welcome back to another episode of PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. I am your host, Leah Frazier, and I'm so glad you guys are here with me today. This is going to be 100% event session. I do not have a guest in the studio today just because I have some PR tips that have come up within the last couple of weeks that I just wanted to share with you guys. So come on in, turn your volume up, get your pen and paper ready, and let's just get into it. But before I do, I'm going to take this time out. I think what I'm going to do as we move forward in the future is just really as I see things kind of progress throughout the week with different businesses and different brands and some of my peers that are publicists or in the public relations fields, and I just see something that is awesome, I'm just going to go ahead and shout it out. And so this week, I'd love to shout out Jen Iro of Jen Iro Public Relations. She's here in Dallas, Texas, and she is just phenomenal and just awesome. Her client is Soiree Coffee Bar, and they are it's a Black-owned coffee bar that is opening in Trinity Groves. Actually, it opened on October 24th, and it is like a jazz fusion coffee bar with all of the iconic jazz greats on the wall. There's a jazz mural. They play live jazz music. There is liquor-infused coffee. You heard that right. Liquor in your coffee. So if you've had one of those kind of days, you can go to Soiree Coffee Bar and make sure you have your little pick me up or wind me down or whatever gets you going. But I just wanted to shout out Jen because she did a phenomenal job during COVID-19 of promoting and really getting the media out to support this new coffee bar that was opening, because it's not easy right now to open a business during COVID-19, and specifically with the numbers that they're showing when the pandemic occurred, that over 41% of Black-owned businesses did not make it and had to shut down. I think it's always so encouraging to see so many that are pushing through, that are leaning into the opportunity, and that are really going for it during this time. And so there's 3 owners of this location, and they all came together to do something beautiful for the city. I do believe that Soiree will be around for a while because we just don't have anything like it. I mean, we were smoking cigars on the patio, socially distanced, of course. Everyone was wearing their mask, but I think what Jen did a good job of is, first, she split the media event. So if you're thinking about doing an event for yourself, or maybe you're launching a product or a service, and it's really one of those things where it's like, you kind of have to see it to believe it. You need to be in person. It's not enough for me to send you a press release to actually experience it. Then you want to consider having what we call a media event, or getting your press, media, bloggers, influencers all in one space to create an experience for them so that they can go back and tell their outlets or tell their audience or their listeners or their viewers, this is what it would be like if you were to patronize this particular business. So what Jen did, she did a great job of, she had 2 sets of events. So she had one during the day, and then she had another fun event at night. So the one during the day, it had the balloons, it had the step and repeat, and she partnered with Brunchaholics, which I thought, again, when you elevate or you're going to do something, partnering or collaborating with another business that is in alignment with what you're doing is always so key, because as one rises, the other, you can help the other one rise as well. And you're like leveraging one another. It's a beautiful thing. Not enough people really hone in on this skill. So shout out to Jen for doing that. But once we got there, of course, we had the coffee, but it was great because Brunchaholics was there, and he is famous in Dallas for the soul food burrito. So if you want to see a soul food burrito, please go look him up on Instagram. It will make your mouth water. When I first heard about it, I will be honest in saying that I don't know how all of this together is going to taste, because it's a burrito that has macaroni and cheese, greens, fried catfish. I believe you could put hot sauce in there. And I want to say there's one other thing in there. And you're just like, soul food is the bomb, but how do all of these mesh well together in my mouth all at one time? Because, there's some people that don't even like their food to touch. So this is all of your food touching at one time. But when I tell you, Brunchaholics is now partnering with Soiree Coffee Bar, I believe, for the brunch menu, and we'll be providing not the burritos per se because they're really, really huge, but they're doing the soul food tacos. So we had the tacos, and we were drinking our liquor-infused coffee, which were the coffees were all named after like jazz greats. So it was really cool. It's like you could get the Miles Davis or you can get the Billie Holiday. It was just amazing. And so you paired those two together. It was a great time. It was great to catch up with my media buddies. And so that was the event during the day. I was not able to come back during the nighttime event. And I will make this point too. During the day, they also had a Dallas cigar. I don't know if it was a cigar group or cigar company, but they were out on the patio and you had the choice to listen to jazz and also go with your coffee and enjoy a cigar with your friends. And it was all free. And it was just a good vibe. And I think it was something that we needed during this time. So shout out to Jen for just rocking that. The night event was come dressed up in like your Harlem Renaissance inspired wardrobe. And, me having my start in fashion, that is something that is fun for me. But just right now, I just did not feel like dressing up. I was like, no, I'm going to go to the day event where it's a little bit more, casual and I don't have to worry about hair and makeup in the nines. So I went to the day event, but the night event looked phenomenal. The pictures turned out wonderful and people were just chilling and they were all sorts of dressed up. And again, there was media that came to that part. And so it was two different sets of media events, but I felt like she did a great job of separating it out due to COVID-19, but also making it fun enough where it encouraged people to come out to really see what Soiree Coffee Bar is about. And I think that helps the client at the end of the day, or if you're considering doing something similar for yourself, it helps you at the end of the day to consider, what is the experience that I'm going to provide to kind of overcome folks who may be a little bit fearful about will this be COVID-19 friendly? Will this be socially distanced? How can I really truly showcase the uniqueness of my venue, my location, my product, my service offering? And I want to shout Jen out. I think she did an amazing job. And when the photos came out, of course, she sent it to all of us so that we could share it on social media and tag. So that kept the buzz going for many, many weeks. And they had a bang out grand opening. So shout out to Jen Iro of Jen Iro Public Relations. Hopefully I can have her here on this show to share some tips and tricks with you guys. And be sure to follow Soiree Coffee Bar at Soiree Coffee Bar on Instagram. You won't be sorry. And if you're in the Dallas area, go ahead and patronize them. This is not an advertisement. This is just me doing a shout out because they did a bang up job. And that is what PR is all about. So today, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about self-promotion, okay? Just because in the recent weeks, I would say, I've had several clients where we've obtained multiple press mentions for them, whether it was digital, whether it was TV, whether it was internet radio, podcasts, however it was, we obtained those mentions for them and those interviews. And after we forwarded them, like, hey, this was just published, it came out, we're so excited. The applause goes wild. Because when we get mentions, I secretly do a dance in my apartment. Like, I'm literally over the moon excited. And when I transfer that energy to my client and then I don't see any sharing of this fantastic mention online that they have no clue. Sometimes that takes 30 or more days to secure. I'm sitting at home like, WTF? What's going on? You can't be too busy to share these things out because on the internet, particularly when it comes to public relations, perception is everything. You have the ability to shape and carve out what people perceive of you. And I tell people this all the time when I do workshops, and also when I'm on panels, when I talk about social media, when I talk about PR, is that there's a reason why people don't know much about my personal life. You know enough to know that I'm a human being and that I'm funny, or at least I think I'm funny, or those characteristics about me. You know enough, but there's certain personal things about myself that I just keep to myself that don't go on social media. And that is because I'm trying to carve a perception for those who follow me or for those who find me online, where I only want you to focus on Think 3 Media. I only want you to focus on Leah when she's the journalist. I only want you to focus on Leah as the author. I only want you to focus on Leah when she's speaking. All the other stuff, knowing who I'm dating, who I'm hanging out with, what my house looks like, unless you're on Zoom, because y'all know I'm lazy and I don't put up the Zoom backgrounds. But all those other little things do not matter, or that's not anything that I want to put out to the public, because that's not where I want your focus to be at the end of the day. And it's the same thing for all you brands and businesses, personal brands, is you have the ability to do exactly what I did, where I can create this world, right? I can give you this lens that I want you to see me through, and only serve that to you every single day, whether it's on social media, whether it's through my email marketing newsletter, whether it's when I'm speaking on a stage, whatever it is, you carve that out. So the problem that I have is that if you know that you have this ability to create the perception that the public sees you in, and you either hire a publicist or a PR agency or firm, or you're doing it yourself, when you're getting these mentions, you have the ability to truly elevate your business or your brand or your authority when you're sharing, to say, I was important enough, or my story was important enough, or I had something so valuable to say that it caught the attention of Channel 8, or I received this really lengthy interview for Authority magazine, all of those things. And when you share it, it doesn't matter if people know who the outlet is. What their perception is like, wow, so-and-so, let's just give a fake name. Let's say Brenda. I don't know why it's Brenda today, but it's Brenda, right? Man, Brenda is killing it. Did you see this week she was in Authority magazine? Oh man. And last week she was on so-and-so's podcast. Even if, let's just say Leah's podcast. Last week she was on PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. Now people don't have to know that I just launched this podcast and maybe there's just 2 of you listening. All they care about is that they probably saw a flyer saying that she was going to be interviewed, and then it's dropping, and then she's on a website. The perception is, wow, you're in demand. And if you can recreate that demand week after week, and even if you can't, maybe it's one time a month, what you're carving out in the public, and from a public relations standpoint, is that you're elevating your business or brand to be that particular source for whatever industry that you're in. And when you don't share those mentions, and when you don't publicize when you're capturing those interviews, and you don't circulate on your social media when you've been on TV, or even in your stories, a lot of you have to get better at documenting your behind the scenes, whether that's Instagram stories, LinkedIn now has stories, Facebook has stories. I'm now on TikTok and Instagram Reels. I'm doing it all. I do not suggest that for all of you, but for me, it works. When people see that, and you do that on a daily basis, you are re-emphasizing the brand that you want to create in the public. And they're only going to create the perception that you're allowing them to see. So I don't understand why, this is just me venting, why you won't take that step further. And I'm not going to accept the excuse that you're too busy. We're all busy. Take 30 minutes out of your day when you receive that awesome podcast clip back to automatically load it up in your Facebook, because you can auto schedule, or post that on Instagram, throw it up in your stories and say, hey guys, oh my gosh, amazing interview with Leah Frazier on PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. Please tune in, click the link in my bio. That is it. And then people are going to look and be like, maybe I'll take a look and maybe I'll take a listen. What is Brenda up to these days? And then the next week you could say, oh man, I was interviewed by so-and-so for such and such magazine. Great article. Here it is. Check it out. Let me know what you think. And if you are consistently doing that and publicizing those amazing mentions, you will be elevated in the public's eye. You will be like a one to watch, or people are just going to be sitting back and watching and being like, okay, what does she have going on? And that's what you want to do. And I'm not seeing enough of it, and I don't understand why. So number one, you're going to want to do that because you have to consistently and continuously carve out what lens you want the public to see your business and brand in. That's number one. Number two, and you're going to hear it on an episode that I interviewed Cleo Green with Channel 8 on. She's actually going to give a pat on the back to Think3 Media, because when you are interviewed and you recirculate it, and let's just say your audience is jacked to see you on TV. Let's just say you have a ton of followers, and sometimes you don't even have to have a ton of followers. I have clients that have diehard family members and like 50 million cousins, and they could just be going to talk to Joe Schmo on his phone outside of the building on his Facebook Live, and their family members are going to share it. Okay. So one of the things that Cleo complimented me on was that she was like, I love your clients because they will make their own flyers and post it when they're about to come on the show or when they're about to get interviewed. And then they do some sort of live, or they do something during the interview, or they share my content. And then after the interview comes out, they then share that interview or the link that we provide them from the TV station. And there's a reason for that, you guys. One of the reasons, and this is just my opinion, there's a million other reasons. Well, there's several. Number one, you're going to want to show your support as a thank you to that media personality that allowed you to come onto their show for a free interview. And we call that earned media. You didn't have to pay for that slot. It wasn't advertising. No money came out of your pocket for that interview. So you want to show your appreciation as a thank you. Two, I always tell people, make your anchors and reporters and editors like stalk them like the rock stars that they are. And so resharing their content actually helps them. It helps them at their TV station for people to see that, wow, we see you're getting 1 million tags, plus they're tagging the TV station. This is awesome. And every time you put so-and-so on TV, we get this transference of followers, or we get many links to our website. They actually can see and monitor that traffic, especially if it's explosive. I had there's a digital outlet here in Dallas whose editor, the editor that I work with on the stories, is actually the person that runs the social media. And there have been several times, because she's so used to Think3 Media clients immediately sharing the stories, immediately putting it on Twitter, immediately throwing it up on LinkedIn and tagging them. We tag them in everything that we do. That there was one time one of my clients didn't do it. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. We'll be sharing it from the Think3 Media pages. And let me shoot her a text. I'm just sure she got really busy. But they see that stuff, you guys. So just giving yourself another leg up to say, hey, thank you for supporting me, but I'm going to support you. Because a lot of these digital outlets and even the TV stations right now that run things online, they make their money based off of web traffic. They make their money based off of their advertisers, and they have to prove how many eyes, right? How much traffic comes to their website, how many impressions and how much engagement they have on social media. So if you're contributing to that in a positive way, why wouldn't they want to put you back on? Why wouldn't they, the next time you have a press release, want to run it for you and not throw you through the ringer the first time they did the first time when they didn't know who you were? They will remember you if you support them just as much as they support you. And a lot of times what I'm finding is that psychologically, a lot of clients have issues with this because it's a form of self-promotion, and they just, well, I don't want to appear that I'm just like always bragging about myself or tooting my own horn. And I used to feel the same way. So I'm not going to tell you, oh, don't feel like that. I used to feel the same way too, until I actually had another publicist tell me, like, why aren't you sharing your stuff, Leah? Like, you're doing some pretty kick-ass shit in Dallas. Why are you not sharing what you're doing? And I was like, well, because, I just don't want people saying she thinks she's all that and da-da-da-da. And finally, I realized that I had something so incredibly valuable to offer, and that there also was so many other people who did exactly what I did, maybe not in the same way, but we're in the same industry, that I had to share those mentions. I had to share when I was going on TV. I had to share when I was going on the radio, because at some point, if somebody's looking at 20 PR agencies, I need them to know why Think 3 Media or Leah Frazier is in demand. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is if I'm consistently sharing those interviews, if I'm consistently sharing the fact that, I went on TV as an authoritative source to talk about X, Y, and Z. So there's a difference between self-promotion. I think you guys know who those people are on social media, that you just click that mute button, because I have a lot that I click a mute button on, because it's more about look at me, look at me. But you also have those other folks that are receiving those mentions that are super valuable, that will tell you, hey, I just had this fantastic article and I was given 5 tips on how you can PR yourself better in 2021. That's valuable information. That's not me bragging on myself. That's me saying, hey, I was interviewed on this. Here's my top 5 tips. I want to help you out. Here you go. Y'all see the difference? So you have to those are 2 things that I really want you guys to work better on. And that's why I didn't have a guest in the studio today, because I'm like, let me just lay this out for you guys, because this is frustrating. It is frustrating when you're paying somebody, or for you guys, you'll be PRing yourself and you work hard for that mention. There was one magazine I worked on for a year for my client as earned media. I said, no way we're paying $5,000 for one page, even though I knew his audience read that magazine. I'm like, no, he deserves this. There's nobody like him in Dallas. And they finally gave it to me. It took me a year. Do you know how fast I would have went over to his showroom after that magazine came out if he didn't put that online or put that on his website? He would have had to hear from me, and he don't want to hear from me, okay? He didn't want the smoke. So he did exactly what I told him to do, and now they've circulated back 2 or 3 other times to feature him in the magazine because of his massive following and the people that supported him and supported that article. So do those 2 things for yourself, okay? So 1, get over it psychologically. Indulge in self-promotion, but do it in a way that's valuable. All right. And 2, share. I don't care if it's Susie Q blogger down the street that put you on her mommy blog. When that publication comes out and that interview comes out, you share it, and you share it everywhere, and you act excited. I don't care if you just did it because you didn't have a mention that week, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you had an agreement with Susie. I don't know what it is, but you share it enthusiastically, and you help Susie out just as much as she helped you out. Do the same for your TV stations. Do the same for your magazine outlets. Do the same for your digital outlets, your podcast hosts. Do the same for YouTubers, Instagram Live, wherever someone is taking the time out to feature you for free. And even if it's paid media, do the same thing. Share, and share, because at the end of the day, your goal is carving out the public's perception of how they view you and your business. You're wanting yourself to be the source, or the authoritative source, or the go-to product, brand, or service within whatever area it is you're operating in. And you can't do it if you're not PRing yourself consistently, and if you're not doing it in a way that really solidifies yourself. If you don't share it, no one knows about it. So why wouldn't you? Okay? So that's it for today. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Every now and again, you guys are going to do, so maybe I'll call this the PR piss off of the week. Just kidding. But every now and again, I get ticked off. I have several YouTube videos out there where y'all have done something that, what show was that? You know what grinds my gears? That's how I feel right now. You know what grinds my gears? When you guys get amazing mentions and you just don't share it. But then you want to get ticked that nobody knows you're the best at what you do. So why don't you just do it? It's easy. Don't be lazy. You're not too busy. We're not too busy. Okay, so if you have anything else you want to shout out, if this has helped you, please, please, please let me know. You can email me at any time, leah@think3media.com. Share this out. Definitely subscribe and leave a review. This was just me on a rant today, nothing particularly special. But this topic of self-promotion comes up a lot. I will link an article that I was just a part of that particularly had to do with women in self-promotion for Lioness magazine. And I gave out some tips on how you can feel more comfortable as a woman promoting yourself. Because, we have that issue where we don't want to be seen in a certain light. And that's a very real thing. So be sure to check that out. I do believe that article is posted on think3media.com under our blog section. And it's also on leahfrazier.com under my press and media mentions. If you want to check out that article, that could possibly help you to self-promote yourself better without feeling like you're patting yourself on the back or bragging. All right. So thank you for tuning in for another episode of PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. I've truly enjoyed having you guys as listeners, and stay tuned for more. Thank you guys so much to listening to this episode of PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. Just wanted to throw some things out there for you guys that are looking for just a little bit of additional help as you're trying to PR yourself with your business or your brand. I want you guys to know about these resources that I've curated just for you. So you can always head to PR Yourself with leahfrazier.com, and it will have all the episode recaps there with photos of the folks that are coming on and the panelists, along with the episode recaps and ways that you can reach out to them directly. And also, if you go to PR Yourself with leahfrazier.com/course, then you yourself, if you just can't wait, if you want to dive in there and know all of the nuggets and you want it in more of an educational and informative fashion, please, please, please take my self-paced course, PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. It is one of my highest ranked courses. I've taught this for the last 2 years. I've constantly getting requested to teach this course across the US. I've done it virtually now during the pandemic, and it is a hit. I've had people receive both local and national mentions, things that have helped their businesses truly go to the next level. So remember, PR Yourself with leahfrazier.com/course, and you'll learn everything that you need to do, and you can do it all online, and it's completely self-paced so that you can PR yourself. Also, if you just want to learn more about some of the other marketing courses that we will be dropping periodically throughout the year, go to think3media.com, spell 3 all the way out, /think3edu, and we will be dropping all of our courses there. So that will pertain to everything with social media updates, influencer marketing, content marketing strategies. So if you just need little bits and pieces here and there, that's where you can go to access those courses and that content. We also have a monthly subscription service. So if you want to sign up for that, there will be a link there, think3media.com /think3edu, where once a month you will have one live course with me on something that is trending within marketing that could help you with your business and your brand. And also within that month, there will be a live mastermind session with other business owners or brands just like yourself, where we can mastermind and help you work through some of those marketing and PR issues that you may be having where you feel like you are stuck. We're going to help you PR yourself or market yourself and get unstuck. Okay. And lastly, huge announcement. My PR Yourself with Leah Frazier book is coming. I am finalizing it. It is coming, you guys, and it will drop January 2021. So head to pryourselfbook.com. It's a landing page, but you're able to sign up for my email list so that you get first access to know when that book will be out, and so that you will have yours shipped to you first. So you have to sign up for that list so that once that book launches, you get your hands on yours first. And this will literally be a physical manual that you will have in your office and you'll be able to carry around with you in order to implement all of the PR strategies that you will need to take your business and brand to the next level. If in fact you're not at a point where you can hire a publicist or a PR agency or a firm. So that is pryourselfbook.com. It's coming January 2021. I'm so excited. I have been working on this for years, you guys, and I'm so excited to give it to you all at an affordable price. But without further ado, just keep listening, binge watching these episodes. I'm so excited to drop many, 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 many more. And thank you so much for your support. Once again, if you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so. Leah at think3, spell 3 all the way out, media.com, or follow me on social media at the Leah Frazier, at Think3 Media. And you can follow the podcast itself at PR Yourself Podcast so that you never miss an episode and never miss an opportunity where you can learn from my media friends or other brands on how to PR yourself better. Until again.